Everybody, and welcome to today's video. And in today's video, I'll be doing a 2024 election prediction between Joe Biden and Rand Paul. Little side note: typically I do the prediction before the video, and then I get started. With the prediction in mind. Some of the times when I say things out loud, I can kind of contradict myself, and that's why you see me changing calls. But um, I actually don't have this already pre-predicted. I have a lot of states I have a few states that I know where I'm gonna put them, but generally I'm gonna be doing this a lot of this just from what I see. So yeah, I'm also gonna try to um do this kind of quick. Um there is something I have to do, and I'm gonna try to make this fairly quick. So I've labeled everybody's safe states. For Biden's likely states, I'm gonna go give him. By the way, Colorado would be safe. Rand Paul, I think he's better in the suburbs than Trump. I think that with the shifting suburbs for stuff, he'll just do worse. Um, than Trump in 2020, just because they're gonna continue to shift. But I think that Rand Paul in like 2014 would have been a really good suburban candidate. But Rand Paul in 2024 is gonna be the suburbs at this point are too blue for someone like a libertarian conservative like Rand Paul to do very well in. Anyways, for Biden's likely states, New Mexico. Also, he's pretty weak with Hispanic and Latino voters. Biden likely states: New Mexico, Virginia, Minnesota, Nebraska second, Maine at large, New Hampshire. So New Mexico once again, Paul just doesn't have the support with Hispanic and Latino voters, and I don't see him doing well enough. With oil workers, I mean, he could do decent, but not nearly as good as Trump. Nebraska second, once again, not enough suburban support, and probably not enough urban support. Minnesota, I don't necessarily see him getting a whole lot of rural turnout. I mean, like, actually, I guess of all the areas that I would say he's the best with, it's with rural voters. Um, because he is very conservative. And rural areas tend to be very conservative. I don't see him being a candidate that's inspiring enough to turn out enough voters. But I feel like he would probably do best with with rural voters, but he's gonna do worse in or not that Trump did very well anyways, but he's gonna do pretty poorly in the Minneapolis area, and he's gonna do pretty poorly in the Iron Range, Virginia. He doesn't have the support in the D.C. suburbs. He's not gonna get as much rural turnout as Trump. Maine at large, pretty inelastic. Paul is probably maybe similar to Trump, maybe slightly better with white rural college educated voters. New Hampshire, very similar thing. Although it's not necessarily inelastic. For Paul's likely states, Montana, Kansas, Missouri, Indiana, South Carolina, and that is it. Sorry, I just yawned right there. Or kind of stopped it. So yeah, talking about yawning now. In Montana, it's more of like a moderate state. I mean, like looking at this, obviously, it's because like the split ticket and whatnot. It's not just like they elect Democrats. But they had a Democratic governor in Steve Bullock, and they currently do have a Democratic senator. One of the most moderate Democratic senators, while the Republican senator Steve Daines is one of the more conservative Republicans. I don't think he ended up doing it, but I think that he was one of the Republicans that was initially going to object to the electors or the election results. So it is not exactly like it's not like 100% moderate, but it's a fairly moderate state. Biden is definitely more moderate than Paul. Obviously, Biden was more moderate than Trump. But he's also going to have the incumbency and probably a fairly strong economy in his favor. Kansas, he's not going to get as much rural turnout as Trump. He's not going to do well enough in the suburbs. If Trump couldn't win it safe, I don't know if any Republican can against Biden. Other than like maybe like Roger Marshall or Jerry Moran. Honestly, Chris Kobach would maybe lose it if he were to run for president. Or it depends on the candidate. If he's running against like AOC, he's probably going to win it. Missouri, not enough rural turnout for Paul. He's not going to do well enough in the suburbs. I see Biden probably getting enough urban turnout to bring it down to likely. In Indiana, Paul's not going to get enough support from the working class. South Carolina, he's not going to do well enough with black voters and won't do amazing with the white rural vote. For Biden's lean states, I'm going to go give him Nevada, Georgia, the entire Rust Belt, and that is it. So, Nevada, Paul's not going to get the rural turnout needed, and he's not going to be able to do well enough with the white working class. Or he's not going to do well enough with the working class. He's not going to do well enough with the Hispanic and Latino vote. In Georgia, he's not going to get enough rural turnout. Not going to do well enough in the suburbs. Not going to do well enough in Atlanta. Across the entire Rust Belt, he's not going. Honestly, he's not going to be very strong in the suburbs. He may win a few Trump or Obama to Trump voters. They're probably not enough, and he's probably not going to be able to do well enough with the working class. He's probably also not going to do very well in urban areas. Um, those are all of Biden's lean states. For Paul's lean states. Oh, by the way, I completely forgot. Um, Nebraska at large, or Nebraska at large. Nebraska's first is likely. For Rand Paul. I mean, like, once again, not going to be strong enough in the suburbs. Probably won't get enough rural turnout. They're likely. Sorry. For his lean states, Iowa. Oh, Iowa and Ohio are kind of hard. I'm gonna give him to him lean, and I'll discuss him later. Maine second, in Texas. Oh, Alaska's likely not going to be able to do well enough with oil workers. Not going to be strong enough in the Native American vote. Rand Paul. Iowa. I mean, like, I see him winning at like 1 to 2%. Same thing in Ohio. It's going to be a lot like it's Joe Biden is not like Obama, so it's probably not going to be able to be. He's probably not going to be able to carry him. But Rand Paul, I don't necessarily know he'll be able to get enough Trump turnout. I feel like from some of it, we likely may see Biden, do decent, with the working class, and voters, and I believe the first congressional district in Iowa. I don't see Paul doing amazing with a lot of those voters, and I don't see him getting a whole lot of turnout. Maine second, a very similar thing. I don't necessarily know that he'll be able to get enough turnout from the Trump base. Texas, he's gonna probably get similar. I feel like in Texas, he can do decent with the rural vote. Probably get enough turnout. Probably not as much though. Probably like 90% of it what it was. 80% of it what it was in 2020. Maybe 90 or 80% of the electorate of what it was. I know that might have been confusing. It made sense in my mind. But he's not going to be able to do well enough in the suburbs. He's not going to get support from Hispanic and Latino voters. That'll likely shift back to Biden, giving him like a 1 to 2% margin of victory in Texas. For Biden's tilt states, he's going to get Arizona, Florida, and North Carolina. In Arizona, Biden's going to do well enough for Hispanic and Latino voters. We're going to see Rand Paul probably do pretty decent in the suburbs. He's probably too Trumpist to be able to do well in the suburbs. And thus giving Biden like a 0.8% margin of victory. Florida, probably 0.2 or something. Paul's not going to have the support with the Hispanic and Latino vote. He's not going to be able to do well enough in the suburbs. He may do decent with older white voters, but it won't be enough. Biden will probably carry it by 0.2-ish. North Carolina, Biden's going to do well enough with the working class. Paul's not going to be able to do well enough in the Charlotte area and the suburbs. He's not going to be able to do well enough in Raleigh and a lot of these urban areas. And likely won't get as much rural turnout as Trump, giving Biden the victory there. So this is actually a pretty big margin of victory, almost 350 electoral votes for Biden. We could see Ohio, Iowa, Maine second, all flip to Biden. Potentially Texas, which is kind of shocking. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like below. Stay tuned for my next video tomorrow. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.